Hey, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. You are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the compressor, Farrell.
Let's keep the boats on the water.
Sing it.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Man, oh man, so stoked to be starting every one of our episodes with those inspiring words from the Mr. Evil Knievel himself, flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life. And man, we need to all take a little time, maybe not to fly through the air like Team Freedom did at Desert Storm last weekend, but live in the sunlight and enjoy life.
Yeah, they were doing most of those things. And luckily, when they were no longer flying through the air, the first responders were there. So we cannot go any farther in this podcast without thanking our first responders and, of course, our brave men and women of the military and our armed forces. We could not be doing this silly podcast without them. And that's not a joke.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And of course, deep respect for the families of our military that gave all, MIA, KIA, and thank you to our veterans. And a very special thank you, as Cole said, to our first responders. Thank you to the Mojave County Sheriff's Department, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Lake Havasu City Police and their emergency drivers, and our good buddy Todd Taylor running race operations for the Desert Storm shootout. They had boats in action. They had emergency boats in action before Freedom touched down
In
into the
motion.
water.
That is so
In motion.
crazy.
They had divers in the water at the wreck in, I think he said 28 seconds.
Wow. I mean, that's what it
Huge
takes.
props.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And both driver and co-driver floated away, so to speak, with very minimal injuries, one broken collarbone, some bumps and bruises, and they were actually at the award ceremony later that night. So
Wow.
kudos. They took flight at roughly 208 miles an hour on the water, folks. So
That's pretty quick. That's quick on land, sea, and air.
yeah, speaking of land, sea, and air, dude, Kicker Performance Audio has you covered in land, sea, and air. Check out their Kicker Real Marine products on kicker.com, Instagram at Kicker Audio, Facebook Kicker, every other Tuesday night live, 7:30 Central, Kicker Unmasked live TV show. Check their website out for the proper Tuesday. And man, they got you covered. Team Kicker, all the way. Bomber eyewear, Bomber safety eyewear, Bomber floating eyewear, Bomber ultimate sick Mad Dog approved eyewear. Tommy and his gang have you covered in the reasonably priced, incredibly durable sunglasses, clear glasses, readers, even prescription glasses, over 40 frame styles. I don't even know how many lens styles. Hit them up, bombereyewear.com or on Instagram at bombereyewear. Our man Cole over at the Premix Podcast, available for his beautiful voice to be rented for your announcing and MC needs, and sharing his passion for all things desert racing and motorcycle racing through the lens of a camera, and may be available for the occasional crew chief spot.
Yeah, that's we'll talk about that. Slide in the DMs.
Slide into his DMs at the Premix Podcast on Instagram. That's the at symbol, ThePremixPodcast on Insta. Hit him up. Of course, Shutter and World Media handling all of our video production, final audio production, getting us all set up for the YouTube channel, MAddOG'S After Show Podcast. Look us up over there. Check out what she can do. Shutter and Whirl has got you covered for all your still and video photography needs from pre-production to post-production. Find her on Instagram at Shutter and Whirl. Go to her bio, click the website, see her entire portfolio right there. Of course, Hey Geeks Marketing, handling all our social media templates, helping us out with social media, covering our website. And she can handle you for whatever you need, websites built, websites maintained, social media campaigns, whatever you need. Hit her up on Instagram at Hey Geeks Marketing or on the webs, heygeeks.com. Dude, stoked to get this one going.
Yeah, man. Off-road legend. Let's get it going.
Legend for sure. Man, we've been working on getting this one for, I think, since SEMA last year. But ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Beat.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. Excited to be here, and apologize for it taking so long to get this in motion.
Dude, between schedules and everything else, and we almost had it last episode, and you got stuck on the tarmac, and it's
Yeah.
all good. we don't use a format. We have very little plan. So it's just, it's all good, man. We're just blessed to have you on board. I know you're on the road, so thank you for taking the time to jump on here and spend a little time with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you guys having me on, and again having the patience for my schedule and crazy life.
Yeah, well, man, speaking of that, you've been doing this a long time, dude. I've got like
Yeah.
Lucas Oil short course, SR1, Pro Light. Um, dude, it's like Crandon champion, Lucas Oil short course champion. What's the new series now? Is it
Champ.
Core?
Champ off road. Yep.
Champion, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, you've hit about every discipline of short course from the beginning too. Um, it's crazy. I was looking through some of your stats because I know some of your story, obviously, but not specific stats. And I was blown away. In 2018, you were on the podium in every race.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had some really good seasons and had some really good runs, but yeah, 2018 was special. Obviously, we won the Pro Light Championship that year, but yeah, like you said, we hit the podium every time we raced.
And that's huge. That is absolutely like unobtainium. Most people, most people would hope to hit the podium once or twice during a season,
Yeah.
And dude, 18. And was that now you started out pro light in with is it the Hart and Huntington team? Or did
Yeah.
you
So what
start
I
on
started
your
out with
own?
was I started in the SR1 class, and then Hart and Huntington picked me up after doing the SR1 class. Of we did like 2 or 3 races of just me doing it on my own, and I dominated so I guess good, or so dominated so badly that Hart and Huntington took notice of it. Thank you to Twitch and Robbie Woods for getting the Hart and Huntington guys to take a look at me, and those guys decided to pick me up. And basically, what they did is they came to me and offered me a deal and said, "Hey, if you build a truck, we'll fund it, and we'd like to see you race under our canopy and under our banner." So that's what we did. And shoot, that was 2012 was my first pro light season.
Yeah, rad, dude. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
yeah, SR1 for some of the younger listeners who have no idea what an SR1 is. SR1 was basically a side by side, a UTV with 1000cc motorcycle engine stuffed in it, right? So
Yeah, so that's what it was. It was basically a Yamaha Rhino chassis with a 1000cc Yamaha street bike engine stuffed in it. They could use Kawasaki's or whatever, but the base frame started off as a Yamaha Rhino chassis.
yeah. And I remember your success because I worked for Rob Muzzy Racing back in those days, and
Okay.
Van Beekem was our guy. Van Beekem and the George family. So,
Yeah. Yep.
and Kawasaki, of course, with the
Yeah.
Terex with the 1000cc motors in them. So, yeah, I've been a fan for a long time, but of course, I think you were running Yamaha back then, weren't you?
Yep, yep. I was we had built the Yamaha. It was our first SR1 that we built. I had some moto industry contacts in Yamaha, and they were more than willing to help me. So they got me a frame and a chassis and an engine and let us go rip, you know what I mean? Gave us some good parts and let us build a chassis and we got to go have some fun and obviously did pretty well at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm well familiar because that's about the time I started doing the full time with Muzzy Performance and working with Bobby. And uh, although I hear now it's Robert Van Beekem, but he'll always be Bobby to me, right? So,
Yeah. Exactly.
so
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you got all these like immense, and I want to get eventually to your program now and like how massive your whole race program manufacturing and all that is. But let's go all the way back. And we had your sister on here about a year ago, and she told some stories on you about how you guys both started in motorsports, how you covered for her when she got wiped out one time, and but what
Yeah.
is it? What lit the fuse for you? Like what pulled the pin on the motorsports grenade?
To be honest with you, it's funny. Me and my dad were just having this conversation. We went testing last week, and we had this conversation of how we got involved in racing and how we got involved in you know the motorsports journey, if you will. And
Yeah.
I vividly remember it one night. I mean, I was 4 years old or so, and my dad just so happened to be watching Mickey Thompson. Right, so at the time, you'll remember this. Mickey
Oh yeah.
Thompson had not only motocross, but they also had the trucks racing, right? So it was like a ESPN replay of the weekend before's, Mickey Thompson race going on. And
Yep.
I remember seeing the motocross and the trucks, and I remember just going, I want to do that. And for about a month, my dad was like, you know, you sure you don't want to play baseball? You want to play football? Our kids at the time were signing up for t-ball, and he's like, you want to try that? And I was like, no, I want to race. I want to go, do that on TV. What I saw, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what dirt bikes were. I didn't know any of that stuff. And I remember my dad being like, all right, well, if you want to do it, you got to be able to ride a bicycle. And so like the next week, I think it was like, I don't know, it had to have been a month before my 5th birthday. And my dad was like, all right, you got to learn to ride a bicycle if that's what you want to do. And so I think every day after that point, I was on a bicycle, learned to ride it without training wheels and learned to ride. And then for my 5th birthday, I got a dirt bike. Right. And
Nice.
that's when it all went down. Started there and started racing dirt bikes right away, right after my 5th birthday and really just started. I mean, I fell in love with racing. It's truth of the matter, just and that was my passion. That was where I wanted to go. And I mean, as a kid growing up, that's all I thought about. I went to school, and all I would think about is dirt bikes and racing and that type of stuff. So that was, I grew up surrounded by motorsports. My uncle raced stock cars. My dad raced midgets and sprint cars. My other uncle was a factory mechanic at factory Kawasaki. So I was literally, my whole family, that's all it was racing, right? Like we were a racing family. And so when I got on a dirt bike, I mean, that was kind of the end of it. That was where it set sail.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the legacy is long for your family, and you know, it's crazy. What kind of bike did you get for your 5th birthday?
Suzuki JR50 was my first dirt bike. If
Nice.
some of you remember those.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. JR50, the PW50 Yami, and yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
awesome. That's
Yeah. Started
my
the
my girls all
JR50
started
and
on
then
a
after.
yeah. My girls started all
Go
on
ahead.
a Honda 50.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are probably a little bit easier to ride than the JR50, but
it was
I wish they would
yeah,
have
it
had
was
bikes that advanced.
right. Yeah, so okay, um dirt bikes success. How long do you stay doing it?
So I raced dirt bikes and I did it till about 2009 professionally. And late in 2009, I shattered my navicular bone in my wrist.
Oh,
So I had made it to the point where I had a contract with factory Kawasaki as not only their race team test rider and development rider, but as their fill-in racer. So when like I was a fill-in rider for Villapoto and Tim Ferry when they were there, and Chad Reed when he came into the picture, I was their backup rider. And Late in 2009, I was at the test track doing some testing for the upcoming 2010 season on the bike and had a mechanical failure and it endoed through the whoops. And I ended up shattering my navicular bone. And when that happened, basically it kind of ended my moto career. Like when you do your navicular bone, most of the
yeah.
time it's 9 to 12 months off the bike minimum just to get the bone to heal.
Ooh,
And so when that happened, the doctor just basically told me you're done, like, and
yeah.
I mentally thought I could come back and I really wanted to try and was working towards coming back. And a good family friend of ours, Kenny Osborne, who used to own Black Rhino Performance, came to me and
Mhm.
was like, "Hey man, I know you're sitting at home right now and we're starting to get into the short course off-road thing. Um, would you like to come try one? Would you like to come do it? I think you could do it. I mean, I know you're kind of in a cast or in a brace, but at least you can steer a steering wheel." And I remember
Yeah.
like just going, I wasn't a fan of it at that time. Like all I remember was like big fat old dudes racing these jacked up trucks, like right, like, and it just didn't seem like the pinnacle of like, you know, physical and the pinnacle of an athlete to me. So I wasn't really into it. And to be honest, when he asked me about it, I was like, can I make my house payment if I win? Because at that time, that's all I cared about. I had just bought a house and then I got hurt. And I'm like, can I make my house payment if I win? And he's like, oh yeah, you'll be fine. So he went out and the first race I ever did, I got third. And I was like, okay, sick. So I won enough money to pay my house payment. And then the second day I went out and won. So yeah. So I won like
Wow.
the second time out. I'm like, all right, game on. Like there's something here where I can make some money. I'm still racing. I'm having fun. And truth be told, they're just as fun as a dirt bike. Everything you do on a dirt bike, you can basically do in a truck. You can scrub it. You can kind of whip it. Like there's tons of things on a truck that you can do that are very, you know, similar to what you can do on a dirt bike. So for me, I felt right at home and took to it right away. So it was a blast, man. It was such a fun transition. Totally a blessing from God that, you know, one door closed and one door opened for sure. So it was a really cool time.
That's awesome. And I want to jump back to those early Team Green days. You were probably working with Mike Williamson when he was young then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike Williamson. Uh, yeah. Fisher, the
Yeah.
fish. There's a lot of guys that were there. Yeah, and Williamson was there. Yeah, he was a big part of the testing. At the time, he was, RV's mechanic. He had just gotten done with James. That's where me and Mike's friendship started. Honestly, we're still good buddies to this day. He still helps me out a lot
Yeah.
of parts for my truck, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now that he's
Nice.
the JMR guy, so it's
Yep.
been cool to continue our Kawasaki relationship into the truck stuff.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And when Cole was racing his KX 500, when he first started racing it a few years ago, I reached out to Mike and he went to the shelves and found some old performance parts, if you will, suspension components,
Yep. Yep.
um, stock appearing suspension components, and Cole won a championship that year. So
That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, he was he Cole was really good on the KX. The Yamaha didn't treat him as good, and he ended up uh, having to have some surgery. But uh, that KX treated him real well, and GP just slaying the GPS because the stupid thing would do 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So
And KX 500's a not a thing to mess with. That's a big boy bike for sure.
yeah, yeah, you got to be built right to ride one of those.
Yeah, let's just be honest. You got to be a man to ride one of them
Yeah,
things.
yeah, he's got the right ballast. Um, sorry,
That's
Cole.
awesome.
But yeah, okay. So you jumped into the SR1 and just started crushing it basically, and
Yep.
just that was in the heydays too. Really, the wild times of really actually the heydays of Lucas Oil Short Course Series.
Yeah, that's exactly that was the heydays of short course, and we had a ton of fun then. It was such an epic vibe. It was Supercross all over. For me, it was like the next best thing was just the pits were the same. You had the energy drink girls, you had the stereos blasting, you had the kickers there, you had all the tire brands. I mean, it was Supercross, 2.0 basically, but with trucks. It was so fun.
That's awesome. And then your first ride was what, Pro 2, Pro Light, when you went
Pro Light,
to SR1, Pro Light, and that was
SR1. Yeah, first car was the SR1, and then we went to Pro Light with the Hart and Huntington group. Um,
nice.
we built that truck. We went out our first season in Pro Light. I missed winning the championship by I can't remember. It was a pretty close. It was like 10 points or something like that. It was really close. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we had missed winning the championship um, just by barely. And then that was 2012. 2013 we came back, and just so happened all the drivers decided in 2013 that they weren't going to race. So at the time I was a Pro Light driver, they had two Pro 4 drivers, a Pro 2 driver. I mean, they had a full field. Well,
Right.
literally all the other drivers quit, and I was the
Oh,
only driver left standing. So I ended up being the first driver in history to race Pro Light, Pro 2, Pro 4 all in one day. And to be honest, like it was so fun. And to be honest, I dedicate a lot of my experience, and as quick as I picked everything up is just based off the seat time that I had gotten that year. Right. Like I feel like I
yeah.
progressed as a driver very quickly, and it was due to that fact. But it was hard to single in on being really good at one of them. Right. Like I got
Right.
decent in all of them and had podiums in all of them, but just couldn't race at the level that I needed to, of focusing on that pro light class, as competitive as it was at the time. I didn't focus quite like I probably could have or should have, and didn't do so well in 2013. And then in 2013, the team was kind of starting to have some financial issues and backing issues and whatnot. And a lot of the partners had come to me and just said, "Hey, if you're willing to do your own team, we're willing to follow you and continue the funding." And in 2014 is when I started Ryan Beat Motorsports and decided to branch off on my own and go for it.
Wow. It's a big jump, isn't it?
Yeah, it was crazy. There were so many things that I didn't realize that, you know, as a racer, as a paid racer, you just show up and race, right? Like the
Right.
behind the scenes things of, semi drivers and moving equipment and, you know, maintaining the equipment and the fab tools and employees and employee drama and just everything about it, right? Was such a gnarly learning curve for me, but I tackled it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's the best way to do it is just jump off the cliff and hold your nose and, you know, have faith and
Yeah,
hope it goes well.
exactly. You kind of sink or swim type of, you backed into that wall and you sink or swim type of issue, you know what I mean? A lot of times you figure out how to do it. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. I threw myself in that situation, and luckily it all worked out and we're in a pretty good situation these days.
Yeah, I would say. Um, and after you went started your own program, like how tough was it to get? Were you instantly back, like your equipment, your podiums, your consistency, or was it tough to start from scratch? And I mean, obviously, you had your dad, you had a lot of people around you that were um, have been involved and knew a lot, and you knew a lot, but you're still starting a brand new program, right?
Yeah, it was gnarly. It was a big task, and then the big thing was like finding the correct help, right? Finding help. You can't do it all by yourself, right? So, a big part of it was learning, learning the ropes of figuring out who the correct help was and who the right person was to help you, continue to achieve these goals. Our results really didn't suffer, to be honest. To be honest, they actually got better as it went on. 14 was kind of a struggle because it was our first year. 15, we ended up crushing it. 16 did good, and then like 16, so like basically the second year after we started our own team and went off on our own is when the results really started rolling in, and you started seeing multiple wins a season. 17, I think we had 6 or 7 wins, and then 18 we had, the perfect season as far as podiums go. We won the championship. I mean, from 14 to 18 it was like 4 years, but you really started seeing the results come in after two, and then it took us another 2 year to I guess make that season perfect to where we could win the championship.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know that that's been done still in short course, has it?
I don't think so. To be honest, I think it's one of those things that you know, I'm probably the last guy to come through of like to build your own program. There's a lot of guys that have come in that have tried to do it, but probably me and maybe one other guy are the last ones I think to come through in the way that in the fashion that we did, where you start with literally nothing and kind of rise to the top of the game.
Well, yeah, and now you're how many times have you won at Crandon now?
Three, three, maybe
Yeah,
four. Yeah, I
pretty
kind of start losing count.
pretty impressive. Pretty
Yeah, it's
impressive.
been good. Crandon's been good to us. It's been a wild ride. Like once you get on that momentum and you start carrying that flow, and the momentum builds, right? And your team builds, and you learn each year from the equipment, and you learn from your guys, and you learn from other racers, and you get it snowballs, man. And once that snowball of success starts rolling, it's hard to slow down when you're doing things correctly. So that's what we did. We did it in 2018, and since then that snowball's been rolling.
Right? That's like a steam engine. Takes a little bit to get it going, but once it gets going, it ain't stopping, right? So,
Exactly. That's exactly it.
yeah. Yeah, once you get ahead of steam, look out. So,
Yep.
dude, that's awesome. And now you're like building you full shop. You're in North Carolina now, right?
Yep. In North Carolina, we moved to North Carolina in 2020, at the end of 2020, going in 2021. We made the move there. I got picked up by Chevrolet in 2020,
Yeah.
and they said, hey, it would be super beneficial for you and your career if you were to be based out of Charlotte. Not only would you be closer to us for us to work with, but a lot of our partners from the NASCAR side and IndyCar side and drag racing NHRA side are based out of there. You know, we think we can open a lot of doors for you and make your program that much more, valuable. So we decided to pick up luckily my sister had been there, as you know, for about 10
Yeah.
years. She did Miss Sprint Cup and was a part of NASCAR, and my parents had moved there a couple years before we did. And everybody started really enjoying North Carolina, and me and my wife went there, and we were like, hell, why not? Let's make the jump. So we decided to move there. We moved the whole race team there, the fab shop, everything, that we had going on in California. We had just started building cars for other people and running other people's programs, and people were coming to us to buy cars and to rent rides and wanted to be a part of our race team. So it was another big leap of faith for sure. Uprooting my family and my wife and kids the state of California where we grew up and lived and loved, to go to somewhere we had no idea, right? And 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, and the program has just continued to explode really. Like Ryan Beat Motorsports is just the the truck builder, the truck manufacturer, if you will, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, thankfully and luckily, our equipment has done very well over the past couple years, and as we build steam, people keep wanting to buy our trucks, which I'm very thankful for, very blessed for. That we've been able to put together a very good package that people want, right? Whether it be Pro Light or a Pro 2. Now we got people knocking on our door to build them Pro 4s. We build everything in house. We have Sean Geyser does a lot of our design work, and a lot of our CAD stuff, does a lot of our laser cutting. And we assemble all the trucks in house in North Carolina.
Wow.
So A-arms, spindles, rear end housings, we build it all in house. So it's pretty cool. We've assembled a very, very strong team, very knowledgeable team. And I think that's what leads to our success. And it's cool to be able to say that we are probably the premier builder of short course off road trucks these days.
For sure.
We're very proud of that fact. We've won championships, not only as me as a driver, but I've won several championships as a team owner now, as other drivers driving for us. So, to say we've exploded is quite on par. It's probably blown up quicker than I would have liked, and sometimes probably not as ready for it as I should have been. But we've ridden the wave and had fun doing it, and continue to keep going. We have a young, exciting driver that races for us now. That's racing a full season this year. He raced a couple races for us last year and had a couple podiums right out of the gate. His name's Wyatt Miller. Importance of Wyatt Miller is his grandfather was the Dale Earnhardt. So he's got some genes in him that kick butt, and we're proud to have him and excited to have him in one of our trucks, and he'll be out there winning some races for this year, that's for sure. So between him and myself, and we got Gray Ledbetter returning to our team.
Yep.
This is the first time I'm announcing it, but got Gray Ledbetter returning to our team to race Pro Light for us. So yeah, so it should be a pretty exciting season for RBM again.
Oh, that's awesome. That's exciting, man. You said you
Yeah.
mentioned Geyser, and I had a question that I was going to ask at some point, but since you mentioned Geyser, when are we going to see you in the desert or Baja?
We've talked about it quite a bit. Actually, me and Sean talk about it all the time, and I think it'll probably end up happening sooner than later. With that, Geyser, Sean has such a dominant program with his UTV stuff in the desert, and builds such quality parts that he's come over and raced some short course stuff with us. Now
Yeah.
we're talking about me going over and racing some desert stuff with them. To be honest, it probably happens sooner than later. We're just working through all the schedule details and some of that stuff, some of the sponsor conflicts. But once we can get most of that stuff worked out, it'll probably happen sooner than later.
Awesome. I asked the right question at the right time. Dude,
Yeah.
that's super cool. I would love to see that. I know Cole's head probably just exploded because he's a massive desert racing fan. So um, he's got to be jumping out of his seat in the background. But yeah, man, you mentioned your sister. We better give her a shout out. For those of you who don't know, Ryan's sister is the one and only Kristen Beat, Emmy Award winning Kristen Beat. And I do all the as many of the American flat track races as I can get to, and I love seeing her. She's always looking out for Team Kicker, and does her episode. I don't know if you've listened to her episode. It's long, but it is awesome. It's great. So you should listen to it because she tells a couple of stories on you from when you're kids.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But yeah. Okay, so now we know one, Gray's back. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Gray and Ryan. That's really rad.
Yep.
and she's been doing really good.
Yeah, she's been crushing it. She won a championship for us in 2023. So we're or 2022 she won a championship for us. 2023 she finished runner up in that championship. And we're excited to have her back and racing a truck for us. She went and raced some UTV stuff last year, but she's ready to come back and be in a truck. So we were able to put it together with some partners of hers and some partners of hers to make it all work and get her back in a truck so that she can come kick some boys butt in that pro light class.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. And I
Yeah.
mean, your equipment is, like you said, premier for sure. Um, Top of the line stuff. So someone should expect to get into one of the RBM trucks and be at the front for sure. Chevrolet Power.
I'll
Uh,
put it this way. I'll put it this way. Anybody that's ever gotten in one of our trucks has won a race that same season. So, I like to say and be pretty proud that everybody that's ever gotten in one of our trucks has been able to win a race their first season. So, pretty cool. Very proud of that. And hopefully that says something.
for sure, dude. That's huge. I mean, I don't know that there's any race team in any series that could say that. That's
Yeah.
pretty damn impressive, buddy.
Yeah. It's pretty cool fact. Fun fact, right?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love getting those little fun facts, if you will, because a lot of people, will don't know stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
it's probably not going to show up on your athlete profile or your business page or your Wikipedia or whatever. So
Yep.
that's crazy good. Um, and you said so Chevrolet jumped on in 2020. Uh,
Yep.
they're a great group. Um, and they have been huge supporter of you as well. You've been a huge supporter of them and given them, you know, the results, right? So that relationship continues, I'm guessing, for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't see it changing anytime soon. That's for sure. I know contractually wise, it's not supposed to change anytime soon, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's good. Everybody's very happy, and we have a good time with the folks at Chevy. And to be honest, when they first got involved, they really, there's a couple people there that were big enthusiasts and big supporters of short course off road that knew what we were doing and what we had going on. But as time grows, more in the company start to become fans of the sport and me and what we have going on and what we have doing, that it's cool to see their support continue and their involvement continue to grow, so thankful for them, and obviously very excited to continue to have them involved with RBM.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Uh, we got to figure out. This is my shout out to Kicker. We got to figure out how to put one of those Kicker Audio Pro tailgates on one of your race trucks.
Dude, I would be so down. That'd be so fun.
Wouldn't
That
that be
for sure.
sick?
That would be rad. That'd be so sick. You get me
uh,
one, we'll figure out how to make it work.
I'll see what I can do. I've got some meetings next week, so yeah, man. The
That would be cool.
it'd be actually it'd be really cool. I'm a fan of mixing rad audio with race vehicles,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
uh, I think they go hand in hand. So it's a cool deal. But what's your schedule this year? I mean, you're like I said at the beginning, you're literally on the road right now. I don't know if you're stopped for the night or at the track
Yeah,
or
literally just stopped, pulled over in a parking lot in the RV here. Kids are in the back playing, and yeah, so just pulled over for a few minutes and jump on this with you. But yeah, schedule. We have the Champ Off Road Series this weekend's our kickoff weekend here in Wheatland, Missouri, for rounds 1 and 2 of the Champ Off Road Series, and then we have about 3 weeks off, and we head to um, Lena, Wisconsin, or excuse me, Anago, Wisconsin for round 3 and 4. So basically focused on the Champ Off Road Series this year, really supporting Champ Off Road and what they have going on. They've done a big big expansion this year, going to a couple new tracks and getting us a broader footprint, making it more valuable for the sponsors that are currently involved, and hopefully to we can rope in some new ones that obviously see the value in our sport and how valuable it really is. It's such an undercover gym, right? It's such
Right.
it's such an unknown, sport that's so cool that so many people love. It's just not to the masses yet. People just don't know about it yet. And honestly, the educational part of short course off road and what it is and what it has to offer, just needs to be spread a little bit.
Yeah, and great advocates like yourself are only going to help it spread faster. And you look back, you mentioned the good old Mickey Thompson series. You look back at that, and I remember going to one in the early '90s, um, in at the Kingdome in Seattle, and it was sold out.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I got to do one of them. I got to race one of them on a PW50. It was like that time was the KTM Junior Supercross, right? And I got to go to the San Diego one and I won it. And I remember I still have the picture to this day of me winning it. And the San Diego's packed. It's full house for a Mickey Thompson race. Like it was sick. Like it's so cool. So I feel like we're on the right steps to getting back to that point,
yeah,
potentially even getting back into stadiums. It's just going to take some hard work. It's going to take everybody rowing in the same direction, get some more athletes on board to be advocates for the sport like I am. And I think we're not too far off from those days again.
yeah, for sure. And they've got some great advocates for the sport, and the young energetic guys, if you will, or team owners, yourself, RJ, um, that are all like, hey, come watch us. Hey, find us here, pay attention to
Yeah,
us. And I think those kind of things will just help continue to grow it for sure. And people want to see it. I mean, it's like, you know, I don't want to hurt NASCAR's feelings, but people have dropped off from NASCAR because it's turned into a lot of times just a snooze fest, or overregulation like Formula One, in my opinion. People want to see things like trucks on short courses, fenders flying, trucks flying 50 feet through the air, and like American flat track.
yeah,
People want to see the grassroots stuff that, with the action, right?
absolutely. And that's what a lot of demographics nowadays point towards that. The grassroots racing is coming back because the big form of racing has gotten so unobtainable, so
Yep.
unrelatable that such a big financial burden that a lot of the people can't relate to, these drivers flying on private jets all the time, and then their crazy lifestyles that they get to live, which I mean, good for them, but at the end of the day, most of the consumers aren't that way. They don't understand that, right? And they can't relate to it. So it's about relating to
Yeah.
your audience. A lot of our audience are they're just normal, hardworking people like we are, right? And they love racing. They love door to door
Yep.
action. A lot of people compare our sport to UFC and Supercross mixed into one, right? And that's really what it is. It's a Supercross with a truck
Right.
and doors, and people are slamming each other and running over each other and monster trucking each other. It's pretty wild and pretty crazy. It's a good time.
It is gnarly for sure, for sure. And it's funny because you're talking about that grassroots motorsports, and we had a very similar conversation with a fellow Crandon winner, actually, Cam Reimers. Uh, and
Yeah,
he's now racing modifieds all over the country, it seems like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
and they're filling the stands. So I think you're absolutely right. People are tuning out on the, if you will, over bloated big name sports.
yeah.
They
Totally.
want to get back to where they can literally walk through the pits, stand at the
Yep.
fence, and talk to, you know
The driver,
the
the rider,
driver,
yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and that's why I think NHRA still has its success. There's
Yes,
the following of other race series, um, especially in the U.S., are falling off, and NHRA isn't because it's an accessible sport.
yes, the fan interaction and the ability to, you know, in pit activate and you know what I mean, that type of stuff. And that's what
Yep,
separates, I think, motocross, NHRA, and off road. These three sports, I think you're going to see a big rise in them over the next couple of years as some of these other sports become very disconnected. Our sports are still staying connected to its fan base and it's staying connected with its fans.
absolutely, and we've seen that. I do all the Kicker Arena Cross series, and we've seen that in the Kicker Arena Cross series over the last, let's say, 4 years. The immense growth in arena
Yeah,
cross because the pits are open, right? The riders are approachable.
yeah,
Um,
yep,
Supercross is, and the tickets are affordable.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah, for
Supercross,
sure.
I think, has gone the way of some of the other overbloated, or is going the way of some of the other self-absorbed overbloated race series.
Yeah,
There.
yeah, for sure. I totally agree.
Okay, rant over. But yeah, man, it's I
That's
just say
funny.
it how it is, you know.
Yeah, I dig it, man.
It's
There's no
it's
reason to beat around the bush.
we say it on this podcast all the time. If you don't like what I said, don't listen.
Oh, listen, simple as that.
Our, our sponsors support me. Our guests support me, and
Yeah.
I'm just grateful. So, um, yeah, we need to get like all your sponsors first, and then we need to get all your contact, how to follow you, streaming information for races. So let's hit it because I don't want to take
Yeah.
up
So
too much more of your time.
obviously, gotta give a big shout out to Bill Sign. They've been my title sponsor for 7 years now. It's a long go for a short course off road team to be with one title for that long.
Yeah,
They've been such a support of us through the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So, big thank you to Bill Sign Shocks. They've really made the difference in our program and really, really been supportive. Right, they're driven to build the best product out there, and that's what they do. They don't rest until they feel that their product is superior to everyone else's. So, Bill Stein, Toyo Tires has been with me for the past 5 years now. They've been so good to us. Chevrolet, obviously, we spoke about them already. They've been a very good partner to us. We have some new partners in this year that, I'd like to thank Maxima Oils. They've been a long time moto sponsor of mine. But once I went into the trucks, we had some other brands that came on board. But just now, fresh up and for this year, I was able to get Maxima to join the efforts of RBM and help support us with the highest quality products there is. Right. So shout out to them.
awesome.
We just inked, and here's another first announcement announcing we did a deal with Drink Weird Energy Drink.
Yeah,
So it's a Drink Weird tea. So it's an energy tea, all natural, all plant based. It's an actual energy drink that's actually good for you. It's not going to try to kill you. So stoked to represent that brand and be a part of that movement of something that's actually, driving health, towards people.
sure.
So thankful to be a part of the Drink Weird team. So yeah, excited for this season. Like I said, we have a lot of good things cooking and rolling for this year, and looking forward to getting out there and showing what we can do this weekend.
That's awesome. I wish you the best this weekend. This will come out after the weekend, so
Cool.
I'm hoping we see a lot of RBM podiums.
Yep.
Uh, and man, congratulations on the Drink Weird thing and the Maxima thing. That's huge. Um,
Yeah.
really glad to see that. And how could they not jump on? I mean, you're such a dynamo of forward motion that, dude, it's
Trying.
I'm even more excited about it just like listening to you for the last 45 minutes. I'm jacked up. I'm like, we need to get this on national
I
TV.
appreciate
It's
it.
I'm
Yeah,
always
no, that's what it is. So it's all good. I mean, how everybody can help and help the cause is go follow me. Follow me at Ryan Beat 51 on all the social channels. Instagram, TikTok. It's at RowdyBeat51. But go follow us on the channels, and support our channels. Support Champ Off Road. Give them a
Yep.
follow and learn about the sport and get involved, man. And that's what really makes the difference is when everybody goes and supports it. So you guys want to be a part of it and want to be a part of the fun ride and see all the behind the scene things. Go follow us. Go give us a follow.
Yeah, and go to a race, because uh, if you haven't been to a short course race, you are missing out.
Yes, exactly. Big time. So right now, the last 4 years since COVID, we've primarily been racing in the Midwest, right?
Right.
Now, first this year, since COVID, we'll be back at Glen Helen in September. So all of you SoCal fans, family, friends, you got it. Yep, right there in the background. We will be back at Glen Helen in September. So get your tickets, get on the website, go to my page, hit the link, whatever you need to do, get your tickets. It will sell out. Glen Helen's
We-
always been a huge round and a huge valuable event for us. We'd love to see everybody there.
Oh yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Glen Helen, and I had never been there until I believe it was 2021, when the Endurocross series, which I was traveling with, um, I I intended to travel with the series the whole races. We ended up running almost the entire season, right there by the short course on the little
Yeah.
small moto track, Endurocross.
Yep.
We ran, I think we ran 8 races in 9 days or something like that.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it was nuts, but I actually got to the motherland. Of course, Cole grew up going to Glen Helen and has raced there multiple times. And with the team that he is bike chiefing now after his back injury, he's jumped back into motorsports and bike chiefing, up and coming rider. And they just
Nice.
managed a podium at Two Stroke Nationals.
There you go. That's a big one.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was
very big
huge.
one. That's awesome. Congratulations,
100,
Cole.
100 and something riders in his class. So it's super impressive.
Wow.
Extra shout
That's
out.
crazy.
Yeah, extra shout out, young Jake Young. Good job. And of course,
That's
Cole, the
cool.
crew chief, man, getting her done. But yeah, Glen
Yeah.
Helen is such an epic place. Like,
Yeah.
I walked in, it was like, for me, it was like walking into the Grand Cathedral or something, you know?
That's what it is for sure. Glen Helen's got a lot of history there, man. A lot of different forms of racing from rally to moto to off road.
Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
great place.
I still have yet. Crandon's on my bucket list, and hopefully one day soon I'll get out there, because I've just got to see the big house. Um,
Unlike it, I mean, it's comparable to Daytona 500. Or the Indianapolis 500. I mean, we have 75,000 people that show up in the middle of Wisconsin, a town of normally of 1,200 people. You know what I mean? It's absolute madness. It's so fun. It's by far the biggest short course race there is. It's so fun for us as drivers. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a good time, definitely Cranon or Glen Helen. Those are the two key marquee events for us this year.
yeah, that's awesome. All right, so sponsors, social media. Hit us with your social media and your website once more.
Yeah, it's at Ryan Beat 51 on Instagram and Facebook. TikTok, it's at Rowdy Beat, but you'll be able to click the links between all three of them. Yeah, and man, hit me up. Let me know what you guys think, and if anybody has any questions, I'm always open and willing to answer questions. I love when fans reach out and ask questions and get excited and are interested in our sport.
For sure. That's awesome. What a great advocate for the sport. Website, Ryan, is it RyanBeatMotorsports.com?
Yes, it's RyanBeatMotorsports.com. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so check them out. Give them a follow on all the social media platforms. Tune in. Always entertaining content. And big race this weekend.
Yep.
We'll be cheering for you. Um, Special shout
Thank you.
outs, thank yous, any of that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's been a part of this ride over the past 12 years, it's been a fun one for sure. And I feel like it's time's gone by so quick, like it snowballed so quick, and just thankful for everybody that's supported us to continue to do what we're doing. My family, first and foremost, good Lord and Savior. My kids for supporting it, my wife for supporting it, my mom and dad for being okay with it and letting me do it, and my dad for being there and busting his butt for all these years, helping us achieve these goals and get to the point where we're at. So it's a lot of people to thank. Well, it definitely wasn't just me by any means. So just glad to be able to keep the ball rolling for everybody.
Yeah, great job. And like I said, we're behind you. We're pushing whatever we can do to help.
Appreciate
Let
it.
us know. Um, man,
Likewise. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Folks, he pulled off the road to do this. So we owe him
No
huge.
worries.
And make sure and go like, subscribe, and follow him wherever he goes.
Yep.
Uh, great family, great person. And like I said before, I mean, it can't, I don't know how to better explain it than like a dynamo of excitement for short course and the driving force behind Ryan Beat Motorsports. Mr. Ryan Beat, thank you so much, brother.
I appreciate it. I better see you at Glen Helen in September.
I will try. If I'm not on the road, I'll be there. I guarantee you Cole will be there.
Cool. Let me know. I'll get you some tickets.
Right on. Appreciate that. And we'll work on that
Cool.
Kicker Audio Pro tailgate for the Chevy.
That'd be fun. Let's do it. That'd be cool.
That'd be
That would be
rad.
cool.
I
Right
I
on.
know I know a
Well, thank
couple
you.
people, so thank you.
Perfect.
We'll see
Even
you
better.
later. Travel safe.
Thanks. Thank you. Take care.
See you, Ryan. Woo! Man, that guy is on fire and has been for years. What a hot rod, huh, Cole?
The train keeps rolling on, man. It's fun to watch.
You know what? I think it's so awesome that he really gives thanks where thanks is due. I think it's very humble of him, uh, to take the back seat to everybody that has helped him, from his family to God to all his sponsors, right? So
Absolutely.
it's pretty impressive. And man, folks, be sure and tune into his social media stuff and check it out. That was so much fun. I'm ready to go watch replays of short course racing again. I am so jacked up right now, dude.
I know we should be getting some RC trucks out right now and battling in Havasu.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um in the better than in the greater than zero chance that I'll be working when they're at Glen Helen, I don't have that date right now. Um, I will need you to go there in person to cover it for us. You
Watch it
okay
be
with that?
Sancho weekend.
Oh, well, I'll be at Sancho. Um, you'll have to go spend a day at Glen Helen. I'm sorry.
We could have a live podcast for about 5 minutes over the phone.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
He'd, and he'll hook you up. He is obviously a man of his word.
I'm
So
for it.
yeah, right on. With that, um, let's keep our time down. We want to be sure and thank all of our amazing sponsors and partners, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, on Facebook, Kicker, every other Tuesday night live, Kicker Unmasked Live TV show, Facebook, Instagram, X, and their YouTube channel for all your premium 12-volt audio needs. Kicker Performance Audio, Kicker Marine Audio, Kicker Off-Road Audio, Kicker Personal Audio. They've got you covered. Bomber Eyewear, bombereyewear.com, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, the only Mad Dog approved eyewear for 10 years. I will not wear anything but Bomber. OSHA approved ANSI 87 safety lenses, polarized, ice blue, mirror red, mirror green, dark smoke, clear, tint, bifocals, magnifiers. If you need it, they got it, even prescription. When you get to the cart and you're checking out, be sure and enter that code MADDOG20, MADDOG20. Let them know we sent you. They'll give you a little party bonus. That's Bomber Eyewear at bombereyewear.com or on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. And of course, our great sponsors, Assault Industries, for all your superior off road accessories, everything from gear and toolkits to side by side, ATV, UTV, off road accessories, mirrors, everything you need. You can find them at assaultind.com or on Instagram at assaultutv. Of course, the Premix Podcast over on Instagram. Cole, available for your announcer MC needs. Man, everybody wants to hear that beautiful voice. Slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol ThePremixPodcast. And also check out his skill behind the lens of a camera and all things desert racing and moto. Check it out at the Premix Podcast. Shutter and Whirl, handling all of our video production, final audio production, getting everything up on our MAddOG'S After Show podcast YouTube channel, and doing such a great job. She can do it for you. Everything from pre-production, planning, through production to post-production, video, still photography, portraits, whatever you need. Shutter and Whirl Media has you covered. Find her on Instagram at Shutter and Whirl. Go to her bio, click the link for the website, and check it out. Of course, Hey Geeks Marketing, handling all our social media templates, helping us out with our social media. Of course, handling our MADDOG'sGarage.com website. And just anything you need, whether it's a website built, website maintained, social media accounts built, social media accounts made, whatever you need, all the way up to full-on social media campaigns. Hey Geeks Marketing. Find her online, heygeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Geeks Marketing. And with that, we're going to wrap things up with that beautiful voice. Cole, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, subscribe in your favorite streaming platform.
Beautiful, beautiful. And leave us a nice comment or leave us an ugly comment and we'll delete it. We don't care. Interact. You can find us on Instagram at AFTR_podcast. Or, like I said before, our website, MADDOG'sGarage.com. From all of us here at MAddOG'S After Show, thank you, loyal listeners, new listeners. We appreciate you all. Share us with your friends. God bless you, our fans. God bless our first responders. God bless our veterans. God bless our U.S. service people all around the world. God bless America. MAddOG out.